Well, interesting. Let's see how that goes. High resolution. You see, you said Garen there. Oh, hello. We are okay. Now the audio is finally on. All right, let's run it back. Well, welcome for the first but second time to the stream. Thank you for your patience. Wow, it's been a roller coaster, ladies and gentlemen. Glad you're here. Holy. I am Tommy Tybro Gale. I have been absent for quite some time from the stream. I'm here with Luke. Luke, let's once again have a reintroduction.
I'm Luke. My name's Speed. The second he's a special character. No, I'm not a Rammus main. Ari, mid lane. So Georgia State has their bans out already, and it looks like Aquinas is on their last ban. We got the Cassiopeia mid lane was the first pick. Definitely want to pull that one from unexpected on Georgia State, but Jen ended up with her Nautilus, and John ended up with Mordekaiser, so that's looking real good for the Aquinas team. On the Georgia State side, they have an Oriana, a Leona, and a Lucian. Looks like an Akali just came out. We got the Assassin top that, going into Mordekaiser could be a good thing to do. It really could go either way, because with the Dark Realm, Akali's not always the matchup that you always want to go into, but at the same time, you could really go either way with her kill potential.
A Caitlyn pick coming out from our bot lane. I expected a misfortune here, so this is very interesting, because even just before this game, from our few discussions that we've had, we weren't faring to the side of Caitlyn, but I guess given the picks, there's been a change of mind, so I'm very intrigued. And Luke, by misfortune is banned. My apologies. All right. But Luke, it looks like you have quite the audience already. Luke, and the memes have already started rolling. There's a few woos in there. Oh, there's a boo. We'll disregard that one. Okay,
so, looking at Aquinas' team, we see the Mordekaiser, the Nautilus, the Caitlyn. Those are very good single target, assassins, really. I mean, obviously they're not quite assassin champions, but, having the cast with Jarvan's looking like a good combo that we could, roll something into with the Poison Ground and J4's ult. And then on Georgia's side, their main tank is going to be that Leona, and they have the Olaf as the off tank, so it's looking like a really good team. They have a lot of potential to just have great team fights with that Oriana ult and the Leona ult, as you said earlier.
Yes, and looking at Olaf here, it's quite the counter when it comes to Mordekaiser, because Mordekaiser, let's say that there's a team fight at Baron, and Aquinas runs in to stop the Baron play. It's John can look to just run in there and ult Olaf as the enemy jungler to take away his smite, but then Olaf can just use his ultimate to negate that. So that still leaves the ability to make plays. Little rusty? Yes, I am. I haven't casted in months. First time back in a long time. We're ready to get to it. Let's do this thing. As we all know, or if you don't, there's a spectator delay. So the game will begin in 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
So I guess since you have the inside in here, what do you think is the one thing that Aquinas is going to be looking for in this game to kind of control the map?
Excellent question. So when it comes to controlling the map, it's incredible. Aquinas plays their game off of vision. Vision wins games. Vision is key. What we're going to see is that, especially when it comes to objective, Aquinas has a set list of things they want to do when it comes to taking an objective. For instance, let's say Dragon. When it comes around, when Dragon is spawning in 2 minutes, depending on what time, let's say we're at 20 minutes into the game and Dragon's coming up in 2 minutes, they have a list of objectives they wish to complete before they actually are taking the objective, whether it's establishing vision eliminating enemy vision, pushing out lanes, just getting overall control of the set objective, whether it's Dragon, Baron, Rift. They wish to control that entire portion of the map so that the enemy team can't even attempt to interfere, so to speak, and allowing them to just take a free objective. And as we know, Dragon and just objectives in general in the new patch are incredibly important. We see teams that get the most dragons typically end up on top because Dragon Soul is incredibly important in the games, and especially when we get into the really late games when we encounter Elder Dragon. Elder Dragon typically is the kiss of death. You get Elder Dragon,
that
you have a team fight.
20% is very, very dirty.
The execution is it's incredibly important when we get to late game, especially with the death timers. And if there's one big fight and you get a single enemy down to 20% and get that execution, then the other team has to wait for possibly 60 seconds for the ally to come back with the still threat of having this execution buff or debuff, depending on how you look at it. And it changes the game, whether if you're behind or you're ahead.
So I got one more question before the game starts. So I see we have PJR00 and Jari in here. How do you think these additions are going to affect the team?
Yes, so these two new additions are, as I say, brand new additions. They both came in this second semester, and they've had some time to play with the team, just hang out, get comfortable, have some camaraderie, and we've tried our best to introduce one another and especially play games with one another in our free time, just to have a really great bond with one another. And coming into this game, I'm really looking forward to see how these two individuals play, especially PJR00, as he originally did not play ADC, but given the changes to our roster and overall just changes to our roster in given situations, we were like, hey, by chance, can you play ADC? And like that's where we need you. And he's like, hey, that sounds good to me. I typically didn't play it when I was back in my prime, but he said, hey, I want to give it a try. Let's get it going on. I'll put a lot of games on it. We'll grind it out. We'll see how it goes. And now we have him here tonight playing Caitlyn with Nautilus bot lane against a Lucian Leona. So we both have some heavy damage ADCs with, I would argue that Nautilus is the king of CC when it comes to just as a champion overall in League of Legends, and I would say that Leona is the queen of CC. So we're going to have a very interesting bot lane, I think. But Jari, he comes from I believe from Columbia University. He was on the league team there, and he was there for a year, I believe, and then found himself back in Grand Rapids, and then met our coach Antor, and then they had a discussion, and now he's here, and I'm glad to have him, even though he did take my computer in the lab, but that's all right. We appreciate the notification that our Discord messages are popping up on stream. We will take care of that as soon as we can, so that's no longer a nuisance.
Right there, it almost looked like Georgia State was ready to invade, but it looks like they turned it around and they're backing off and heading back to their lanes now.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. But Aquinas strategy early game, 5-point, make sure we establish vision so that the enemy team cannot do that. But with a Olaf, you would think that they would attempt to, given that Olaf has such a strong early game with a flash Q or Q flash.
They got a Kali, Oriana, and a Leona to round it all off. But I think they would have had to turn anyway because there's enough disengage on the Aquinas team with the Cassiopeia and the Nautilus for sure.
We do see Aquinas playing safe already in the bot lane, sort of a bit skittish, even though we do have the Nautilus in the very long distance from Caitlyn. But playing safe here is what PJR00 is going to be looking for, given that he's not the most comfortable on the position of ADC. So we will see probably a very passive game in the bot lane. But when it comes to It's John in the top lane, I expect him to do as Mordekaiser does and just conquer.
Farm.
And we do have
ASUGSV. I'm not sure what the ASU stands for, but the GSV, I believe, is supposed to be Georgia State.
No, that is actually the whole conference or tournament, so to speak, that this is involved with. I personally do not know what that stands for, but I can certainly figure it out in between matches.
Looks like Lucian's winning some trades bot lane and farming up a little bit more. Aquinas is falling a little bit behind in farm, but, nothing too bad yet. Keelan is keeping it up, keeping that carry roll all set. But
we do have a late engage coming in here, but Keelan is going to be able to protect Jari from the invasive Olaf. Apologies for the
lack of voice.
Let's say for the lack of voice, because we're still trying to figure out some technical difficulties. Our screen is mirrored in the opposite room, so when something comes across the screen, sometimes it blocks our view of the game. So if there is any sort of lack of speech, that's most likely why something's in our path of watching the game and being able to give a commentary.
So it does look like Georgia State is getting kind of a lead on aggressive wards, but Aquinas is playing it safe. I think really it's a smart thing to do because, there's a lot of scaling that comes with Aquinas right now, and with the Olaf and the Akali, that's a very good early game play as well as the Leona. So, I think it is the best choice to, sit back and let Olaf have to come to you, as his gank potential is very strong early game. But, we got Jari, walking back into the jungle. Most of the lanes are even in terms of wave position, so nothing too exciting. But
yeah, early game, simple early game. Everyone's playing passive, everyone's playing safe. We did have some invasive maneuvers from the Olaf and the Orianna trying to get a quick pick off Jari. And as we said, in every single lane, there is just only a 2 CS difference in the top lane. 4 when it comes to the junglers. Keelan is currently pushing and coming away with a pretty decent CS lead. But as he just returns to lane, Orianna was able to make up in his absence. But I believe Keelan will slowly but surely continue to gain a much larger CS lead.
And that's difficult to do because Orianna has really good farm potential. I mean, just with the command attack and shockwave, that can take out the whole mage minion wave right there.
We do see an early dragon coming from Georgia State. With Olaf, he has a great potential of getting those early dragons. We do see a little skirmish in top lane. Level 6 Akali. John has to flash. And then, the shield comes up. The turret dive, unsuccessful. Jari's coming in to see if he can tango. We have another dance in the bot lane. The focus is on Leona. I think we're just going to have some skirmishes all around.
And it does look like Lucian does have the level lead, and I think Akali was up a level. Yeah, on It's John. So, it looks like this passive strategy, they're all taking it slow, taking it safe. No one's falling too far behind. Looks like Jari is struggling a little bit to CS, but Olaf is a hard, jungle clear to match. So nothing too much to worry about.
Yeah, the most difference we see currently is in the top lane. Kali being that, so to speak, abusive, manipulative assassin against the Juggernaut Mordekaiser. John is falling behind a little bit when it comes to CS, but once again, Akali is quite an abusive laner to be against. Especially against
with a Hex Tech Gunblade.
Yes, especially against
the revolver right away.
John goes in for the ultimate.
He's baiting it out for Keelan to come up.
But John can probably just take this away by himself. First blood given over to Keelan.
Gotta feed it to Keelan, man.
Absolutely. If Keelan is able to get a huge lead as Cassiopeia, Keelan can
Possibly carry the whole game.
absolutely, as we
I mean-
as we have seen Keelan do it before.
And Cass is a very strong person. Team fights individually, just one of those control mages that you really do want. Looks like Lucian is getting the first. Oh, they're setting up. They're diving.
Oh, a 3-man dive coming onto 0-0 here. He couldn't have done anything about that.
No.
It was too quick for him. From our point of view, the Aquinas has not established a dominant ward control in their own jungle, allowing Olaf to just come in and prep for the dive, leaving 0-0. He couldn't have gotten away.
One good takeaway, though, is that Leona did receive that kill, so that is definitely a positive for the Aquinas team.
Absolutely. Looks like Olaf is currently either baiting or taking the red.
And it does look like that it's John is starting to get a much bigger lead on this Akali and is able to 1v1 her.
Wow!
The flash.
But Akali's going to get away. That was a beautiful maneuver by Ja Ree with the EQ flash. That was...
And it looks like they're setting up 3-man mid. They've got Olaf kind of wandering on bot side. You know, Leona and Orianna are already showing, but Keelan's, doing his best to disengage. And Olaf is setting up in mid behind turret.
Keelan does quite some damage, even though Leona only has Moby boots. Keelan set out 2 Cassiopeia E's and did a quarter of Leona's health with just 2 abilities.
And it's a surprise, too, with just a tear and a sapphire crystal.
Quite impressive damage.
It looks like Olaf's going to back. Maybe Jari can catch him out. No. But there is a pink right there that hopefully will get cleared soon.
Returning back to just the differences in each lane, so to speak, John does find himself a little bit behind when it comes to CS, but he does have that assist, and so he has that going for him. He has gotten some HP and some ability power, allowing him to trade with the Akali. Jari still finds himself a little bit behind, but from my personal knowledge, I do not know how familiar or how typical he plays J4. We haven't engaged by... It's John at the top lane. He goes in for another ultimate.
Oh, can we look bot? Looks like we got a big fight going bot. They're probably setting up for drag right now. Orianna's wandering down. Keelan's falling behind. Looks like Lucian popped his ult. Caitlyn made it out safe, but Jay Freeze sadly didn't make it out.
Yeah, that was quite a dominant play by Georgia. It's quite impressive how you say, can we see bot? Because we can't control the camera, and because we just use director's mode. So I was sort of shocked that it worked.
I know.
We do see a dominant push out from Georgia in the bot lane, making 0-0 have to leave.
And I think they might get first turret off of this.
Oh, another skirmish in the top lane. It's not looking too hot, but John is going to be able to get away. This is... Wow. They are approaching to destroy their first turret at only 1045. So they have gotten quite the amount of gold from all those plates. They're going to set up for another dragon. Currently...
And this one being Ocean, that could be very helpful, especially with Ori and her. It is not exactly a small mana pool, but with how many abilities she's launching out, that can go down very quickly. And as well as with the Lucian, that's very helpful too.
Yeah, so far it's not looking too confident for the Aquinas Saints here. Georgia has just over a 2,000 gold lead. They have just only 1 kill above Aquinas, and
But they also have that Cloud Drake and Ocean Drake.
Exactly, I was just getting there. The turrets remain 0-0, but the bot lane turret will soon fall, I would guess. But yes, as you say, they had the 2 dragon lead, which, as I said at the very beginning of when our sound kicked in, dragons are extremely important in this new day and age of League of Legends. So currently Aquinas finds himself behind, and it might be hard to...
they're switching.
We have the bot lane moving top lane, and the Leona ult makes It's John have to flash. Mordekaiser not being that mobile of a champion, he had to flash out of the Leona ult so he would not get bursted out by the Lucian. As we see, he sits on a Bork and a 30 CS lead over PJR double zeros Caitlin.
It does look like Olaf has slowed down with his farm. I mean, he has been showing up to lanes more, and he does have 2 dragons, but, going from 40 or 50 CS lead down to 20, that's something that we like to see.
Georgia's very confident right now, being very invasive, knowing that they can get away with a lot of mischief, so to speak. It's just going to further put Jari behind, because now he no longer has a blue buff. He no longer has that ability to clear faster.
Yes, this is a best of 3, by the way.
As we see, Georgia's taking complete vision control in the topside blue jungle. Keelan finds himself defending against 3, but I'm not sure how much he can do. He's gonna have to put down. Yep. I forgot what the ability is called.
But Cassiopeia's E.
W. Oh, we do have an engage here. Jari's gonna do the best that he can to protect.
Oh, he put down.
Can he escape? Mordekaiser coming in. Oh, wow. 4 members of Georgia State already top lane. The communication, wow, was actually rather impressive. We see the Leona ult come out with the addition of the Olaf ult and the Lucian ult, all timed and used very well, which just bursted down Keelan's Cassiopeia. And Jari tried his best to cataclysm Leona just so she could find her swift end from the turret, but we see that she was able to make it out alive given Leona's W increases all of her defensive stats, and we see the top lane turret will actually fall.
And it looks like bot lane was the first tower, so that's quite a bit of extra gold going down to Georgia State now, and it looks like they have a 5,000 gold lead, which, looking at that's almost 2 big items.
That's quite an amount of gold.
And it looks like, Leona still has the kills. Lucian and Orianna have no kills. Akali has no kills. So, it's still not quite time to call it game yet, of course. None of the carries on Georgia State really have kills. I mean, unless you want to call Olaf a carry, which he definitely can. But, Aquinas still can get this.
Returning to the lane differences, we see Akali has just over a 20 CS lead. Oh, we have a Hex Flash maybe coming out from Leona mid lane. Coming in on Keelan with the ultimate coming out. We have Jari coming in for the defensive.
Oh, they're going to turn.
They're just going to kite him off. And we see that Leona has picked up Zeke's Convergence, I believe the item is called now.
Yep.
Rather than Zeke's Herald from a few seasons ago. Oh, we have Jari. He's going to get engaged 2v1. I don't think he can get away here. Jayfree's coming up on the backside. Cataclysm coming in.
Keelan coming on the backside.
Keelan coming in, going to try to get rid of Leona, get the shutdown gold. Can he get one more Q off? No, he can't. The heal comes out. The TP comes out. That is a 2-for-0 on the side of Georgia State. Another negative team fight coming out from Aquinas. But it appears that at some point in the game, I guess I didn't know. Oh, they're coming back in. Akali with it. Oh, here comes the Mordekaiser ultimate. Excuse me, I forgot how to speak. I've been streaming it so long. Johnson to get collapsed on by the rest of the team when he comes out of his ultimate. He can't even get one kill. I think Akali. Oh, the Keelan R and the Flash R from Lucian. This is a dominant game from Georgia State. It's not what we want to see. We find 0-0 defending mid lane all by himself with Jayfree's coming up. But they're just going to be able to walk away. And the mid lane turret is low. Next dragon. Oh, we don't have timers up.
That would be nice,
the dragon's already up. There it is.
Yeah.
I can't tell with the mini-map sort of small on our screen. A very, very dominant play style and just gameplay overall by Georgia State. It's 1-8. Leona ultimate going on Jayfree is questionable at best. I don't see it. Under turret, tower dive, Leona Orianna against Nautilus. I don't see the success there. Maybe get a little cocky from the overall success. As we see Olaf, Orianna, the only person without a bounty is Akali on the side of Georgia State.
It does look like Aquinas' main focus right now is just setting up those lanes to turn a team fight and actually do something with it. But, we got to get to that point. It looks like we have another Rift Herald spawning in the next, I think that's a 15-second timer. It could be 30, but...
Just send a little message. Oh.
Looks like Caitlin's going mid. She's trying to hold down the fort. Cass is, looking to stay bot. We got Nautilus and J4 in the jungle and Mordekaiser top. It looks like Leona and Olaf are rotating into Rift Herald, clearing out vision. They're probably going to set up for it very soon. I see Akali's already starting to rotate up.
All right, there we go. We have the objective timers now. As we see, Baron is up in 2 minutes, and they're about... Jari must have not just taken...
It's Rift Herald. Not quite 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's up in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
We just saw Jari attempt to take blue, and then the camera cut to Rift Herald, and then cut back. And now he's still fighting blue. He's just so behind that even just a little pressure from a ward will push him away. Just because he only has Merc Treads and Cinderhulk.
It looks like
there's going to be collapse mid lane. I'm thinking Leona has ultimate here. There it goes. The flash coming out from 00 keeps him alive, but then the Rift Herald's going to be dropped, taking mid turret. They can get it with an auto. So this drop actually now allows them to get a Rift Herald attack on the second tier turret, which is huge, rather than having
3/4 of the house. They're setting up mid. They got Akali going down bot, split pushing. It's really how they're going to be able to answer that at this point.
Yeah, we see a 1-3-1 pushing strategy come out right now. A little fight over, a little not fight, but a little interesting interaction here by Chickens. Jari's doing the best he can just to get gold so that he can be a tank, just to get some items, just so he can. Assist his team. Jayfree's possibly going to get caught out here. Have to burn the flash. The ultimate comes out. Oh, we have 2 different fights happening. Keelan drops the W. The flash E from Leona. The heal comes out.
He ulted her, Lucian.
He gets the kill. John
able to get out.
Mistimes. Oh, the Akali comes back in. Oh my goodness. Oh,
no.
So close with double zero's ultimate here. He's gonna have to kite if he wants this kill on Olaf.
Be able to grab it. Uh-oh.
Lucian coming up from the top. This is a bad position for 00. He just has to kite him. The aggressive E. He's going to get a kill. That is 00's first collegiate kill. And I couldn't be happy for him. Now we see Lucian taking the Aquinas red buff. It's going to be able to poke down and apply more damage and give slows to the Aquinas team here. Allowing them to possibly get more picks. As we sit here, it's 28,000 gold to 38,000 gold. A 10,000 gold difference. This game is not looking the best for Aquinas. It's going to be quite difficult to come back at this point.
Well, I think the most important thing right now is 50 seconds is drag.
Yes.
Georgia State has 3 dragons. That's Dragon Soul. That's Mountain Dragon Soul.
The 4th dragon is Mountain Soul.
A Mountain Soul on Olaf and Leona will be very devastating for, the rest of Aquinas trying to take down. Looks like Jay Freeze still has yet to finish the first big item. The Mobies are out, but, there's definitely a gold difference that's noticeable as we look through items. Just a lot of missing big items.
Yeah, as you say, Jay Freeze hasn't completed a single item. Jay Freeze sits at 0, 3, and 0 with 34 CS shared from her support item. Jay Freeze is sitting at extremely little gold, which naturally will set anybody behind. But especially as Nautilus support, not having any sort of gold is devastating because you need some HP. Aggressive Leona. The Wombo combo coming out from Georgia State. The aggressive TP. The Cataclysm coming out. Keelan 1v5. He's going to do his best to do whatever he can here. He's just got to kite and possibly get one pick. A 5-0 ace on the side of Georgia.
It looks like Olaf's going to grab that dragon to, if they don't end here, it's not looking great for Aquinas.
No. The Dragon Soul coming out. This is easily going to be an inhib here. Uh, yeah, I think they can only grab inhib with just straight pressure. Actually, the team is already back up. Inhib might be questionable. They do have pressure top lane. They split 2-2. So I think if they would have just went 4-0, they would have just gotten an inhib. But given that everyone went top lane, we do have a flash E from Mordekaiser from Idge John trying to fight, but Akali does way too much damage. Jari is supposed to be the tank, but he just doesn't have the HP or the money to get himself the HP. This is I can't see Aquinas winning a 5-on-5 team fight. Their best bet is to look for picks here.
Well, right now it's 4-on-5, and it looks like Leona started with the ult on 0-0.
An aggressive flash R from Olaf. He's just going to be able to burst down this Jay Freeze, and that's almost a second ace back to back. I see that they can for sure get one turret here, possibly even two, and end the game. But if they can't, they're just going to run and go get Baron. But I think that this game's already over.
Those spawn timers are too long. I don't think that Jari and 0-0 are going to be able to hold. And it looks like that is the end of game 1.
Yeah, that was quite a dominant game from on the side of Georgia. Hoping in this best of 3 that Aquinas can figure out some faults there. And as we sit here, we are going to remain on the air because I haven't heard otherwise. I wasn't sure if they were going to cut the mics. But yeah, just you want to give the people a quick recap of last game, what you saw there, Luke?
So, the first thing that we noticed is that bot lane is definitely the focus. I mean, that's clear because of drag. Olaf grabbed the early drag when, they were able to chase off, I believe it was Jay Freeze. After that, Keelan did have a great roam up top, so that was cool to watch them, kind of even things out for a little bit, but after that, Olaf and Leona came in a bush. They dove 0-0. And, beyond that, it just started snowballing. The more drags they got, it looked like Aquinas was showing up a little late to all the objectives. It was hard for them to get vision. They had to play from behind for most of the game, almost right off the bat. So,
all right, so we just got the key to say we will be right back. Our mics are going to be cut, and we will be back with you
very shortly.
Very shortly.
Ready for game 2.
We're back here at Aquinas. Tommy's taking a little break real quick, so on Blue Jay, I previously played the game, taking a little step back this semester and see how it goes. We're already back into draft. Looks like AQ's banned Cassiopeia. The other team pretty much has a Cassiopeia one trick, which is why they took it away from the first round. And obviously they've banned Jay Freeze's Morgana, which he's infamous for over on our team over here. Ridiculous win rate. Same with Keelan's Fizz. So we're going to look to see how this plays out. They're still in the ban phase. Don't want to deal with that split push Fiora. Obviously, as Mordecai is in the last game, John feels more comfortable taking through the team fights and pushing through with the team rather than trying to split them down halfway through the lane. Another Kled ban coming from Georgia over here. Again, Kled is another champion that's so OP in this meta, especially with Itch John. It's definitely his number one champion. Just destroys every single opponent he comes against. It's ridiculous. I've seen this guy play it over and over again. He can pull it out of his pocket anytime. Runs them down. Oh, and it looks like they don't want to deal with that Olaf. The Olaf last game did a good job of snowballing a little bit of early pressure. Turned out, pushing J4 off of his Raptors, and then snowballs that early lead. All right, hey Will, what's going on? I'm doing good. Higher resolution. Hi, yeah. We're switching things up a little bit. It's our first time back this semester. We're going to be trying out some new casters, going back and forth. Luke will probably be back next game. We're just throwing things around.
Throwing things around, indeed. So let's throw some things around.
Welcome back, Tommy.
I appreciate your patience. Even though the door was locked when I got back, no big deal.
Let's see. So they first picked Thresh, and then we responded with Vladimir and Nautilus over on Aquinas' side.
Interesting pick to go back to the Nautilus after, I guess, just an unsuccessful game on Nautilus. Even though Jay Freeze was incredibly behind, given the fact that not much happened at all bot lane. She ended, last time I checked, her score was 0-3-0 with 34 CS. And that was when they were contesting early Dragon. So hopefully Aquinas can turn it around.
Yeah, they're just looking to run the game back. I mean, honestly, Nautilus is such a huge pickup between all of his three forms of CC, So it's just a great pick. Push it up and see how the lane goes. Thresh is a monster. This is my all-time favorite champion. I feel like he never has a real bad matchup. It's just the way you play him, So I'm curious to see how this plays out. I've played this lane back and forth over and over again, and it's always a coin flip. Just completely depends on the Thresh player, to be honest.
Yeah, I think any champion that has some sort of hook, whether it's Nautilus, Thresh, Blitzcrank, I think are those the only ones? Nonetheless, I think any sort of skill shot that brings someone in, I just think it's so fun. Especially when you're playing that champion and you hit crazy hooks, like Mad Life, so to speak. When you're just chumming it up with the guys, and you hit a crazy hook, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, it's game changing. The idea behind hook champions, where you could just pull someone in and completely stop what they're doing and suppressing them. It's insane. And look at this. We picked up Lee Sin. This is Jake Sujari's number one champion. This guy's a monster on Lee Sin. We were going over practice duels. He was showing me kicks. We were going back and forth, trading ideas. And I'm really excited to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, right before the first game, we had Jari practicing Lee Sin. I was just watching him because I was just so intrigued at the mechanics that were involved. Like I watched him do one certain flash ward W R Q R. Nope, you can't double R. Double the Q. And just the mechanics and how quick the play itself happened, I was like, wow, this guy is top notch.
Oh no, yeah, he's the real deal. Yeah, he's been practicing these insects. He's so clean on them. Every time I've never seen him mess up an insect. Like at all. So, caster curse right there, Jake. Hope you're not listening. Good luck, bud.
Good luck, yeah, so we just hyped up his Lee Sin, and if it doesn't work, you didn't hear it from us.
Yep, nope. Nope. Super excited for this Silas as well. This is kind of like a three-way flex right now between the top, jungle, and mid. So this is a really smart pickup by Georgia to see where they put it, because we're kind of caught off guard, right? Like, where they're going to put it. He's going to go top, take Conqueror, jungle. He could take Conqueror too, Aftershock, mid lane. It's honestly, you could do whatever you want. It's a huge champion right now, especially with this mini rework. It's a little weaker early, but I think it scales almost harder, especially with the W changes. Instead of doing an execute or doing more damage based on how low the enemy champion is, it just scales more damage, and the healing is flat, so you can heal off of anything you touch, which is why it's a really good jungle champion at the moment.
We do have a Ezreal pick coming out for PJR00. I've dubbed him 00. I think it just works.
Yeah,
it rolls much better than PJR00 with a double kill. It's just 00 with a double kill, right?
Yeah, PGR 00, as we like to dub him now. He's a student we've been talking to all this last semester, and we finally got him on board. Like Tommy was saying earlier, ADC is not his main position, but he's really stepping up for the team. He's a great player. His name's Paul. So anyone who sees him on Kansas, shout out to Paul.
We do possibly a Quinn top.
What?
Some would say Rennington, but hey, that's an unpopular opinion. Camille, last second. Okay, Camille. Do you think that's Keelan's Vladimir or it's John's Vladimir?
Oh, we'll have to wait and see. It could go both ways. Both of these players have played it. Keelan's notorious for the Vladimir, doing those dark waters Vladimir, pushing it up. There we go. And after we look at it, it is indeed a Silas jungle. Probably Talia in the mid lane. Though we could still see a Talia jungle. I think it's fallen off quite a bit, but it's a possibility. We'll see when it locks in over here next few seconds.
I question the Urgot pick strictly on the fact that there's a Silas in this game. Because I was going to mention earlier, but I totally blanked right after I thought about it. When you notice the Silas becomes into champ select, then you have to recognize that his ultimate steals other people's ultimates. Mm-hmm. Or copies them, so to speak. Whatever you wish. And with that, if you have a champion like Urgot who has an execute, that just gives the enemy team the ability to execute once as well.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Whenever you're playing against a Silas, you have to keep in mind like what ultimates you're bringing to the table to him. I mean, he's just taking whatever you have and throwing it right back at you. In some ways, it's even worse. Silas has so many good ults to choose from. Pretty much everyone across the board is the priority ultimate. Like Ezreal ultimate's huge with the scalings, and Vladimir ultimate's going to be even worse with all the Conqueror. And if we're looking at that right, is that Talia bot lane and Lucian mid lane against the Vladimir?
Now this is interesting.
So they're just throwing down the gauntlet to Keelan, saying step up and carry it. After last game, I mean, he was doing pretty well across the board, but they just got far behind early, and we'll see how it goes.
Talia bot lane. Now this is interesting. Now when it comes to a bot lane skirmish, if Talia throws out her W, I've never played Talia.
No. Okay. No, it's good to be honest.
But the ability that when you dash or is that the W?
It's her E. For typical keen bitings, that's her E. So she throws out some rocks, and if someone dashes across it or they're pushed into the rocks, they explode and deal more damage.
Right.
Yeah. So what's typically going on here, you'll see sometimes in mid to higher elos, you'll see a Talia bot lane with like a Pantheon support. You could run it with Leona too. Pretty much with a lockdown support. She'll flip you into it, and it's basically a one-shot kill, full combo down. Thresh is interesting, right? Because she can throw down her E, and he can pull her with his hook, first of all, and then flare right into the rocks again, dealing a massive amount of damage.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to speak about this Talia bot lane, because Thresh, as we say, can Q and then pull into the pebbles, or even just fillet them into the pebbles. And what's dangerous is that we don't want to see Aquinas' J Freeze Q and go for an engage right when those pebbles come out, because that would naturally, if she hits the Q, damage herself. In addition with 00's E.
Yeah, so, no, that's an insane combo if you think about it, right? Because if she times it, if J Freeze times the hook and their Talia times the unraveled round at the same time, they're going to be hitting each other. Of course, it kind of depends on J Freeze to land that hook, because if she doesn't land a hook on a champion, she won't proc Aftershock. And that's most of Nautilus resistances when they're going in. So if they don't proc Aftershock, they'll be doing immense amount of damage right onto the Nautilus right away, and they won't have any time to counter that.
So this is a dangerous bot lane. Like if the timing meets, Jay Freeze could find herself dealing more damage to herself than to the enemy opponents.
Yeah. The compositions are pretty interesting looking at some of these win conditions, right? Because a lot of these completely depend on the support to engage. Camille and Urgot are pretty much looking at split pushing, and Camille can obviously jump onto the enemy team, but if she's not ahead, she's likely to get blown up by everyone in there. Vladimir has an excellent pool to get rid of, Thresh Hook and Camille Ultimate and whatever Silas throws at them, and Lee Sin's probably looking to peel. There's not really a lot you can insect here with a Thresh. Thresh is by far Lee Sin's one of his greatest counters, because, he has the Lantern to pull him away from an insect. He can Q onto him, hold him, lock him down, and fly him away in the middle of a jump or ward hop, interrupting all interaction. So it's very dangerous for Lee Sin to move him away.
As we see, the Spectre delay has come to a close. We're about to get into game number 2, best of 3. So this may be our final game of the night, but nonetheless, very interesting team comps, very interesting picks.
Let's hope it's not the final game of the night. Aquinas is coming back, of course.
I want to go to 3, baby. But, we have to see how it plays out. I'm very intrigued how this game is going to play out overall. I haven't seen It's John play Urgot in at least quite some time.
Yeah, he has quite a few games on Urgot. It's always been an interesting pick. He always holds it as a pocket pick to some of these matchups. He's actually played it into Camille and Aatrox quite a bit, so he definitely knows what he's doing. I'm pretty curious to see on how the mid lane matchups match up, to say. Because Vladimir is obviously not going to do a lot early, where Lucian's probably looking to push Vladimir out of lane. Silas is an interesting jungler, too. Just based off of how recent his mini rework was. If you want to call it a rework, you call it, a mix-up, whatever. We'll see how it pulls off in this game. It's too much of a high degree of variance to really determine how good of a jungler he is. Really, it's all about the cheese. He can do a level 2 gank. It looks like they're coming to invade top side. This is one we've actually pulled off quite a few times.
This might be cheese.
Definitely cheese.
But we do have the 5-point strategy coming up from Aquinas. Are they going to... Oh?
No, this is a really great idea by Georgia, right? Because they have Silas with the chains. He's going to EN, maybe burn a flash or summoner. Same thing with Thresh. Camille might start her E as well, just for this invade. We'll see. Nice by John, right? He drops a ward
flash
to get
Q
away.
For Thresh.
Yep, flash Q with That's fine. You know what we say at Aquinas? We ward, walk away. We never flashed at level 1. Because that's going to leave you open to more invades, more ganks, everything like that. So as we're figuring out some of the technical abilities, which, by the way, Luke's running some of this tech stuff right now. He's doing a way better job than I was. I had no idea what I was doing. I was trying to look up, different ways to mix up the scoreboard and change the spectator, which I was unlucky with, but thankfully Luke knows a little bit more than I do.
We do have a late invade coming up from Aquinas. Going to go see if they can...
Looks like, they just pushed down some vision, see where they're starting, see if they came back or they're invading the top side. If you look at wards all across the map, we have an excellent line from AQ across the top side by the red buff, right? They'll see if they had invaded that side, and likewise AQ invaded and put around the same wards to see where Silas's pathing is going to be.
Who do you think the key players, or key champions, so to speak, are for both sides? As we just said, as champions. Level 1. Yeah,
no, I definitely think Thresh is going to have to play very well this game. It's really hard to engage onto an Ezreal, Vladimir, and Lee Sin. They all have terms of mobility. Urgot probably doesn't want to hook, right? Because Urgot's going to grind you to a pulp.
I'm most looking forward to Jari on Lee Sin. Because personally, I have not seen him play Lee Sin. Besides just in practice tool, I have not seen him play a complete game. I have played a game with him when he played Set. Very interesting champion.
Yes, that's an interesting one. We'll save that for another day when we see it. I know there's been some interesting pickups by the AQ squad practicing with Set, seeing where that's going. We'll see where Jari goes. He did a full clear on the bot side. Interesting, he's not going to go for an early gank here, right? Because an early gank would typically be, buff, gromp, buff. You see Silas coming up here, actually, for an invade onto this Lee Sin, trying to poke him out. We'll see how this works. Lee Sin's actually level 3, right? So if he gets the jump on Silas, as Silas has seen, missing the Q right there, Silas just jumps on the wall, backs out. But we have a topside fight. Urgot's going in. W's onto Camille. Camille procs her passive shield. They're just going to trade back and forth. Actually, Jawree's coming through, hits his Q. No Silas is waiting around the corner and, just backs off. put down some pressure, show him who's boss. That's smart play.
If Jari would have went in there, catastrophe, possibly. Because Silas was waiting right around the bench. So very educated decision. Oh, wow.
Oh, yep, that's exactly what we were talking about. Look at that. Lands the W, unraveled ground. First blood onto Jay Freeze Nautilus. That's a dirty combo if I've ever seen one.
That was an outstanding amount of damage at level 3 with simply just... Oh, she actually has a Dark Seal as well. I just noticed. We see Silas coming back in for another invade against Jari. Jari has not been given the ability to jungle in these past 2 games. He has done his best, but as we saw in the first game, he got shut down, and in the second game, just getting bullied.
Yeah. See, both teams actually pushed them in. So, did Vladimir move to the bot lane, or is that a maps bug?
It appears it is. From what I see, yeah, Vladimir is now
Vladimir bot lane. I'm sorry, maybe they missed it at the beginning. I didn't see that quite yet. They moved in, yeah. So they've been pushing lanes, mid lane. So Lucian's been pushing into our mid laner, whoever it was. I actually don't remember at this point because I just saw the Vladimir bot, right? And Camille's pushing Urgot, which gives Silas room to pressure in because they can always cut them off. And so even if they're going to be fighting, most likely George is going to be there first. So it's kind of difficult for Jari to be release some of this pressure by the Silas. Like I said, Silas has some of that early cheese at level 2 pushing through.
I think we see the switch from Keelan in the mid lane to Keelan heading down to be the APC, so to speak, in the bot lane, because of how dangerous Lucian can be with his double auto passive and including his ignite and just his dash, given that Vladimir just doesn't have any mobility besides in vulnerability with his W.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's exactly what you're saying. Just trying to get away from some of that early pressure. Same with that. Like Vladimir can dodge Thresh hook right away with his W, just pulling out. It's kind of interesting to try and see the match, right? I've actually seen some of our AQ students lane swap like this just when they're playing normally. A lot of times when we were playing with Fate last semester, just in some of our ranked games, flex games, practice. In some competitive games, Keelan would end up just going bot lane and running down their laners just with just some unexpected ganks and then staying down there while Fate would back and go mid lane to catch the wave. So this is something that both teams are not totally unfamiliar with, but most spectators probably haven't seen this before.
Returning to the... Oh, we have a skirmish down in bot lane. The fillet, coming out. Little skirmish. Jay Freeze looking for the hook. Is going to be able to get away, but incredible amount of damage coming on Jay Freeze there.
Yeah, Jay Freeze should have auto-attacked to proc that aftershock right there. Just gets a few resistances and armor up on that champion, so she wouldn't take as much damage. Maybe they could have all-in right there, right? Nautilus still does a tremendous amount of damage throughout the full combo. Passive damage, her as a player, but Nautilus, his damage on his W does damage over time, and then his E is do a tremendous damage. Again, Keelan's hitting hit with this hook. Another auto attack by Thresh. Hard carry Thresh, exactly what I was calling.
As we see, we have Talia rushed Sorcerer's Boots, and just her damage seems like it's doubled.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's the same thing with Thresh, right? Because Thresh has a lot of damage in his kit as well, as you just saw. So if they're just landing their full abilities, they don't need a lot of AP to do that. They have a lot of, oh, look at that. Right off the TP. Interesting. They're coming in. Oh, a nice ultimate by Ezreal to get them out. They're just probably going to hit this Blast Cone and come out, pressuring the blue buff.
But they're going to get away with a blue buff. Jari continues to get bullied in this game.
Yeah, look at all their laners have moved over to support this invade. He's just not getting any help from his laners, but they're so far behind being pushed in. It's hard to respond to a jungle. So, I mean, honestly, what do you do in this situation as AQ to get back in this game? Because they have Rift Scuttle, coming up in 38 seconds. Do you want to make a play here, secure vision around this dragon? It's not like Silas can solo a Cloud Drake. Cloud and Ocean are almost impossible to solo as any champion. Unless you're Olaf, right? So it's kind of hard for most of these teams to capitalize on this, especially since they're short-ranged and their only engage really comes back to Thresh, right? So it's mostly about this laning power. We'll see if we can get out of laning phase and turn this into something.
We have an engage from Jidge John top. He's going to look for his ultimate. He can get away with the execution here. And Jidge John, successful in that skirmish, going to walk away with a kill here and put Aquinas on the board.
Excellent play by John, right? They engage, take a little bit too much to fight there, a little bit more bark than bite, as you would say, And he just turns it right around. Camille had her ulta, maybe was trying to dodge it with her ultimate, but wasn't successful and just ends up getting run down.
Oh, 00 went the wrong way in his E and is going to end up dying for it. He must have moved his mouse too quick and found himself on the short end of the stick.
Yeah, that's rough to see an arcane shift right into your enemy opponent when he has everything up. There's really nothing, past that point that you can really do. He had to blow flash, but Lucian has his dash and flash and quickly follows up. Lucian's all-in is much better than Ezreal's, especially at this stage of the game.
Yeah, he burned. So he accidentally went in with his arcane shift and ended up blowing flash and heal in an attempt to get away. But Lucian's mobility and damage was just too much. So that is a rather large loss when it comes to Aquinas and just 00 in general. He is farming very well, but that is going to make him have to play safe.
Look at this dive right here. Steals Nautilus ult, looking for the dive. Pressuring out. Just good job of just, zoning them across, giving them options. Maybe Talia can go to Gone Up. Trying to split Aquinas from moving both directions.
Once again, clearing Aquinas' vision from their own jungle. This may be Aquinas' side of the map, but Georgia doesn't want to give it to him.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing the same thing since level 1, right? Pushing in these waves, putting pressure on their jungler, giving Silas time to invade and group up with his team.
Looking at the lane matchup itself, we see that top lane is actually a 1 CS difference. But we have Silas going harassing J Freeze.
That's smart, not all-in, right? Just getting some pressure down, making sure Nautilus knows that Silas is around and taking care of this dragon vision. Pushing her off of taking any vision herself. Any free trade you can get onto a laner as a jungler is, an immense victory, right? Because they're going to be lower, your laner's going to have more control, and Silas didn't take any damage from this, so it's a great win for him.
And we see Georgia's going to pick up the first dragon. A little miss smite there, but doesn't really matter because it wasn't even contested. Because Aquinas is not in the position to be able to contest, given the difference in gold is about 2,000.
Look at this gank on mid. Everyone comes out, multiple ultimates. Lucian runs it down. Silas uses his Nautilus stolen ultimate, pushes him out. Talia comes from behind with her wall. There's no way of getting out as Ezreal, especially blows his flash.
That was an excellent execution there. Even let's say that Ezreal did have his flash and his E to get out of there.
Oh, and Thresh landing another hook. Pretty much instant death from...
Oof.
Yep. Full combo from multiple players right there.
Missed ult coming out from It's John, trying to execute that Thresh, put himself on the board.
Yeah, maybe stepping up a little too far here, right? I mean, what are we going to do in this situation? We have maybe a 3v4. People have their ultimates and still some cooldowns up.
This game, once again, dominant by Georgia.
Yeah, they really know how to play the early game, right? Taking care of their strengths and knowing the opponent's weaknesses. Maybe the Vladimir bot lane probably wasn't a good call, right? Because they have no wave clear. Nautilus doesn't have anything to help push a wave. So they're always going to be pushed in. Give Silas room to breathe until this Lee Sin. And we weren't able to secure vision on the bot side. Earlier, about 20 seconds ago, you could see all the wards throughout the blue side of bot side jungle. Really, there's no way for Lee Sin to come in without being seen and without Silas giving up anything in return.
We see that Jari does have Rift, so that given a possible successful gank will allow them to get some turret plating, get some extra gold spread across this map, which they are in dire need of, because they find themselves less than a 4K lead for Georgia, as we say here, given the 6-1. Turrets still remain at 0, but they have the kill advantage, which gives them the gold lead in addition to the CS lead, and it also brings it back to the air dragon that they possess currently. And we see the next dragon is Ocean Dragon, which leaves the possibility for Mountain Dragon or Inferno Dragon to be the Dragon's soul. And
which would be devastating, honestly, right? Because they're already one combo most champions, so with an Infernal Soul, with that extra damage on top of pretty much every other attack, right, you're almost guaranteed an execute. Look at them, they're pushing through the jungle. Donis might not get away here. Doesn't have Moby Boots. Excellent Q timing. Let's see how this turns out. She's probably still running down. Look at this. Good damage over by 00. Camille engaged on the top side. Lee Sin, is ulted by the stolen Urgot ult. Excellent flash by Silas there, trying to fear Urgot away.
John still does damage, though.
Look at that. He's
Can
trying
he
to turn
pick
this
it off?
damage.
Yes,
Look
he
at this.
can.
Excellent job.
Proc the
Buffers the
passive.
E.
Is it enough?
Still up.
Oh,
Keelan
Keelan
TP's in.
Double kill for It's John. There's some very positive and excellent teamwork there, especially with the communication. That's probably the most communication we have been able to witness in these past 2 games. Not to take anything away from the Aquinas side, but that is the best executed communication, cross-map team play we have seen in these past 2
For
games.
sure, yeah. Good TP by Keelan trying to clean up the kills. John did an excellent job of just staying alive, procking his conqueror, getting up some extra health, and manages his cooldown so he's not going to be burst down by the Camille. It's kind of scary there when Silas hits his W and heals right back up. You never know how much that heal is going to do when you're playing against it. Sometimes you don't do a full item check, don't know how much AP he has and what that's going to magnify his healing. So, yeah, you saw his health shoot up by, a quarter amount. And he was still able to turn it on, hit that last proc off of Urgot passive, does an extra percentage of damage onto the Silas, and ends up just running both of them down with insisted help from, both Jari and Keelan.
Returning to the lane matchups and differences, It's John, maybe down just 3 CS, but also has 3 kills rather than Camille with just 2 assists. Jari is down nearly 20 CS and doesn't have a kill nor an assist, so he does find himself quite behind. Keelan down, compared to the Lucian mid lane, which is the original position, he's down nearly 30.
30, in both cases, right? So if he's going bot or mid lane, he's down about 30 CS in both. It's John's interesting, right? Because he's losing some CS, but he's picking up kills, but he's had to respond to a lot of plays. So in most cases, it's going to be worth it. They're crashing a tower and trying to invade, but he's able to capitalize on some of their mistakes. Rift Herald pushing here, trying to get some vision on Dragon, force him to commit to an objective. They do lose top tower in the meantime, because they need to have John rotate down as the strongest member of Aquinas College. So it's, you have to take some sacrifices in order to gain small victories. It's part of League of Legends, right?
Absolutely.
You can't win everything, so you have to choose which objective to take and when.
Jari finds himself getting closed on. He's going to have to... he's getting...
Ooh, look at that damage.
I was going to say he was going to have to look for an R to knock back the Lucian so he can get away. But in a panic, he burns his flash. Nearly a steal coming out from Double Zero. Even though Double Zero does find himself 0-2 with no assist.
It's still looking for those opportunities, right?
He still has a great amount of CS.
Yeah, he's doing really well. You see, the problem with the Lee Sin play, right? He's level 7, and Lucian's level 11. Lee Sin's not be able to get any gold or any XP just being pushed out of his jungle over and over again by the whole Georgia team, just doing an excellent job of smothering one position. Another hook by the Thresh. Misses his flay, though, so they might be able to get a good turn on this. Excellent kill.
They're going to want to keep going here, given the 3-2 advantage. But I guess we'll just take their 1 kill and skedaddle.
Yeah, Thresh pops his ultimate, gets that slowdown, preventing them from following up on anything else. Talia has the roam off. Just good by AQ, not trying to bite onto more than they can chew.
Absolutely. I think Double Zero looks much more confident on this pick, just from his gameplay. Being able to have that arcane shift on Ezreal's E allows him to be safe. He may have messed up early game and accidentally eat into Lucian. But I think overall he's just much more confident and much more comfortable with this much safer marksman.
Yeah, it's definitely safer, right? You can throw out those Qs, mystic shots over and over again, secure some CS without having to step up to a wave and getting chunked out by anyone on Georgia's team here. Again, like you said, the arcing shift makes it very safe for Ezreal. It's a very mobile champion that resets its cooldown by 1 second every time he hits a mystic shot. So he can have that over and over again as long as he's landing some abilities. Let's see what AQ decides to do. See, Urgot's pushing up in that top lane. Jari is kind of hovering over that top side, so maybe they're going to make a play on this Rift Herald. Georgia sees the same thing as rotating over here. They're about to check it. They've already started it. It might be too late for AQ to move in, right, as 4 versus 2 here. Vladimir doesn't have his TP up, and Double Zero and Jay Freeze are on the bot side, so they're more than likely to give this up. They could attempt for a steal, but it might not be worth it for another one of their lives.
As we were talking about earlier, it's John, 3-1, currently the bread and butter of this team. He is the key player here. Keelan, 1v3, can he get away? Protobelt's away from the Thresh hook. We've seen him do it once or twice before already in this game. Keelan's main objective in this game is just to continue to farm, be able to sustain, and not get caught out and just keep himself alive. If Keelan is able to just continue to get more and more CS and get the gold instead of getting kills, he's still going to find himself as a very strong component of this Aquinas defense or offense. Depends how you look at it.
Yeah,
matchup.
Yeah, no, definitely. Right, Vladimir is an excellent scaling champion. He definitely just wants to get more items, more cooldown reduction, hit that level 16. He's already, past level 9, so he has max skill points on his Q, so he's going to have that fairly often. But he definitely has to look for a big team fight here. Definitely gets another item. Probably doesn't look to fight until he picks up a Zanya's and a Rabadon's, maybe Morello's, depending on the situation. Get some spell pin in there, since he picked up Ionian boots and doesn't have anything like that yet. But yeah, they definitely want to scale up. Ezreal still can pump out some massive damage. Lucian's not going to pump out as much damage as Ezreal here in the late game, unless he can get really close, which he probably doesn't want to do against, Urgot, Nautilus, Vladimir. They're looking to blow him up before Georgia comes back at them. So it's really interesting to see how this plays out. If Aquinas can hold out a little bit longer, maybe Urgot can be the shield into the face of Georgia, just to push them off of Aquinas' back for just a moment, give them some time to breathe, farm up like you're saying, and get some of these items. Baron is about to come up here, so we're going to see what this next move takes place.
A typical build on Urgot is Death Stance, which makes you incredibly tanky, delays the damage that you sustain, in addition to gives you a little bit of lifesteal. That is a key component when it comes to an Urgot build, and when John is able to get that item, he might be able to become a menace in some skirmishes or possibly even some team fights. Team fights are, I would say, a very dangerous idea in this current match in the game.
Yeah.
But I think little skirmishes is what's going to work for Aquinas here. They're going to look for picks, try to get some gold back on their side. They sit down by 8,000 gold, so they're really going to try to get some picks, or at least look for them. Try to challenge objectives if they can without making any sort of bad movements or bad plays. They don't want to. If they mess up an objective, they're just going to lose it. Their best is to just harass.
Yeah, for sure. No, you're exactly right. Like, they want to get these picks. John is actually doing this. Lucian gets him down with his ultimate. Lucian just jumped right in with Izzy, and Urgot turns it right back. Oof, that was dangerous by the Lucian spot. He thought he had it under control, but you can't stand up to an Urgot. What level is Lucian here? I think he's about the same level, right? Maybe level 12. Urgot's just massive in this game. You see Death's Dance picked up a lot more, too, with this meta, especially with the changes to Conqueror. They increase the healing. Oh, look at this. Good flash by Jay Freeze.
It's John pops Jari over to blue buff.
Just helping out with positioning, sure. Right.
Oh, possibly going to be able to collapse it, but Silas is pretty big. The damage is insane. Oh, the insect coming in. Oh,
flips him away from the lantern. Great job all around. Good insect by Jari. Excellent play by John, just flipping him out of the lantern. They're going to play a little bit more aggressively. This is exactly what they have to do, right? Camille flashes, ults into this. We'll see if they can burn it down. Another great flash by John.
But can he do it 1v9? Basically, it's all by himself. Can he get...
Oh, man.
John sits at 5-2-1 with that. As you just saw, he just purchased Death Stance, so he didn't have it in that fight, but now he does. But if he did in that fight, that possibly could have helped him... Well, it would have naturally helped him sustain even more in that team fight. Jay Freeze getting poked down.
Oof,
Lucian gets an assist with Rift Herald there because it knocked Jay Freeze. She couldn't move because of it, and then he get that last auto off and finish Jay Freeze there.
Shelly just wants to be a part of the game, you know. Sometimes she is not seen at all, and when she does, she wants the spotlight.
I think Shelly's quite useful. I think she needs more love.
Oh, definitely.
But still, a very dominant game on the side of Georgia. But it's John. A much better display of skill and confidence in the second game.
Yeah. You know, I overheard some of this conversation. He said, give me counterpick on the top lane. I can definitely carry some of these fights. He's showing it right now. He just want to get to this mid-game push over here. And, you know, they're coming back a little bit. We'll see how it turns out. Zanya's picked up by Keelan. Look at this Talia, 7-0, already has 10 stacks on her Dark Seal. She turns that into a Magi's maybe. Oh, there it is already. Picked up the Magi Soul Stealer, looking to throw her weight around in the ring.
Jari only sits at 88 CS.
Compared to the 133 of Silas on his counterpart, right? Well, here's the thing. You know, they're still relatively equal on levels. Well, Silas is pumping up some good CS numbers, he's still 1-3-3. Where Jarry, he has 1 assist, but that was a great play on his part, right? Turning, the spotlight right onto It's John, almost 1v5ing her in that last fight. Camille's jumping in. Ooh, let's see how this goes.
Camille may find herself as 1-3-4, but her damage on her Q is still an insane ratio. Her Q does, I believe, 99% true damage on the second proc.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think it scales up as time goes on, right? At the final level, it's about 90%. So she definitely has the upgraded Q position. So, they're going for a pick right here. 3-man onto this Lucian. If he steps up a little too much, they throw down the ult, just secure the kill right away. Jarry actually misses his Q, so they have to fight out a little bit further. Silas picking up Lee Sin ultimate. John TP's in just for the safety. We'll see how this goes. Looks like they're turning it back on its head. Now it's even numbers, scattered. But they don't have any ultimates left. Excellent play by Thresh, interrupting John's another ultimate by Camille, just catching out. They're just getting run down at this point.
That was a good fight turned absolutely awful. Georgia's 2 ahead for Aquinas to have sort of done anything in that team fight, and now they're going to find themselves at Baron.
Yeah, they just move out the pick a little bit more, land a few more abilities, push it over. Looks like Georgia's going on to Baron. I know I was tongue-tied at the same time. So much going on in the situation. Hard for newcasters like us to really push through, but we're learning there. Look at this. They're just securing Baron. There's really nothing they can do. Ezreal does have an ultimate, but we'll see how it steals. He actually could have gotten it there. They actually had a really early smite. Looks like 00 actually didn't have his ultimate up. It's hard to see on some of these small screens, but it's coming up here soon.
We're going to have to look into if we can make our screen a little bit bigger, because, as you say, it's quite small on our screen.
You already have old man eyes, so it's hard enough, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
We'll take a look at it another time here.
Yes, another time, another day. Let's carry on with some more League of Legends. As you see, Talia, 9-0-2, very dominant. She picked up 2 more kills, but only her bounty has not gone up.
No. 700 gold's way more than enough. She already has 20 stacks on her Magi. That's an insane amount of ability power. She's going to pick up a Rabadon's Death Cap, exponentially increasing her ability power and the damage she's going to be doing here very soon. Looks like they're making a play on this bot side tower. Look how they're securing vision, coming in as a team, pushing around. Whereas Aquinas is still sitting in their base, right? They're so far behind they can't really step up in this situation.
Yeah, once again, Aquinas' main objective here has got to be just look for picks.
Yeah, they have to take it slow, take it one by one, right?
00 almost gets picked off with a Thresh hook there. They're looking to siege this inhib tower. The minions can do all the work by themselves. Is that
they're trying to engage? Yeah,
burn down this Thresh. It's John. Can he get it off? No, he cannot. But he still gets a kill.
Another hook by Jay Freeze. Look at this. They're actually turning it around, taking it, as we said, one by one, spreading them out. Flashes by Silas, but he still ends up going down. Aquinas turns out. Look at Talia walling in through here.
Camille on the backside gonna try to do her thing on the backside.
It might be too late, right? She just eat in. She's trying to go for it.
Flash auto from Jay Freeze still falls. Ultimate goes out.
Excellent job. Though, look at this kiting. Talia comes from the backside. They're not quite in position to do this. John was clearing the wave, right? Wasn't on some of these champions, and they just didn't layer the CC. Great job by Camille and Talia playing off this fight. Aquinas
pulled off a very successful counter engage, got 3 picks, but then Camille on the backside and just the sheer damage from Talia ends this game here.
Yeah, looks like it. That's the Nexus secured. Queuing up some of these waves, maybe pad their stats. She's probably just looking for a little cheese here, hit a W, maybe secure another skill. Fully stack her Magi actually goes down as an execution, but she's already 12-1-2, so hit up that with the key DA. So there we go. That concludes some of our stream for tonight. If you have any other feedback, Tommy, what do you think about that game?
Once again, extremely dominant on the side of Georgia. There was some hope there on the Aquinas side, better than the last game, for sure. In comparison, the first game was not as great as the second game for Aquinas. It's John was the bread and butter of that team in the second game here. He gave me the most hope with his ability to one-on-one the Camille to get that lead. to have successful TPs, be there for his team when they needed him, be able to dish out the damage and be able to stay alive with that death stance. He wasn't able to unleash the monster that is Urgot, given the circumstances that the enemy team found themselves very ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, it's John. Most likely put up some great numbers in the end game, but Aquinas still finds himself falling short, and thus concludes the first game of this tournament conference.
Yeah, it concludes kind of this run of Aquinas Esports over here from the League of Legends side. So we'll be streaming off right now. We hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in with us. Follow us on Twitter at Aquinas Esports, Instagram at Aquinas Esports as well, and we'll see you guys soon.